Hello and welcome to another Science 9 crash course. During this episode, you're going to find out what a niche is, and we're going to talk about symbiotic relationships. Every organism has a niche, no matter how funny they may look. A niche is simply the role or characteristic activity that an organism undertakes in an ecosystem. To make it simple, a niche is basically what an organism does and where it lives. Let's use this tree as an example. It has many different roles, such as producing oxygen, or taking up carbon dioxide. It can be food for organisms, shelter, wood for fuel, and many other uses. A niche also takes into account an organism's habitat or where it lives. It can be as large as this open field, or this parasite called Demodex that lives on the eyelashes of humans. We can classify organisms based on the type of niche that they have. Organisms that are called specialists have what we call a narrow niche. A specialist is a type of organism that can only live in a specific environment and only eat certain foods. A great example of a specialist is the koala bear, because it only feeds on the leaves of the eucalyptus tree. The koala is the only organism that is able to eat eucalyptus. It's able to do this because it has a specialized stomach that is very long that allows it to rot inside and allows the koala to digest it properly. Another example of a specialist is the Tuatara. It's a reptile-like species found in offshore islands of New Zealand and consumes mostly insects. The other type of organisms are what we call generalists. These organisms have a broad niche. What this means is that they are able to eat a variety of different foods and live in many different areas. The raccoon is a generalist because it has a natural range that includes most of North and Central America, and it is what we call omnivorous, eating berries, insects, eggs, and even small animals. Another example of a generalist is the horseshoe crab. It's a generalist because it has a wide diet on the floor of the seabed, and it can tolerate wide ranges of water temperature. They can survive in low oxygen waters and out of water for extended periods of time. This species is over 360 million years old. So which one's better, the generalist or the specialist? At first thought, you would think a generalist would have a distinct advantage because it's able to do a variety of things. And this is true. Generalists are able to withstand greater changes in their environment. However, because specialists are the only species that do what they do, there is less competition with other species. Because resources on this planet are limited, every species on this Earth has some sort of competition. Competition can occur between members of the same species or members of different species. However, competition between the same species is always the greatest because they have overlapping niches. Not only do the members of the same species have to fight for resources, but they also have to fight for a mate. Organisms don't always have to fight though. Some organisms have learned to work together in what we call symbiotic relationships, which is two organisms living in direct physical contact for extended periods of time, and at least one of the organism benefits. There are three main types of symbiotic relationships: Commensalism, where one organism benefits and the other one is unharmed, or Mutualism, where both organisms benefit, and of course Parasitism, where one organism is harmed and the other one benefits. An example of a commensalistic relationship is one between egrets and cattle. The egrets are a type of bird that eat the insects that are disturbed by the cattle as they forage. A great example of a mutualistic relationship is the goby fish and the shrimp. The shrimp digs a burrow into the sand and both organisms live there. But because the shrimp is almost blind, the goby fish will touch the shrimp to warn when a predator is near. An example of a parasitic relationship is between the guinea worm and humans. The guinea worm is a parasite that is almost gone from the world, but is still one of the most painful today. I hope you've enjoyed this Topic 2 crash course in biology. Thanks for listening.